I look like a cave woman, and I look like a turnip, and this looks terrible. I made this video. I made my hair. My hair was not supposed to turn out purple or lilac. This is a damage caused by shampoo, meaning it's entirely temporary, but I've essentially trashed my hair. It should go back to blonde soon if I just wash my hair again. And I'm quite mad because washing my hair made it look worse. My hair looks like a cloud. Well, I look like a mad scientist. And I literally look like a grandma. I don't know how I managed to look like an actual Neanderthal as well, which is really annoying. Maybe it's my prominent... I basically, unfortunately, take after my dad, meaning I have the jaw of a caveman, woman, thing, whatever. So I'm now going to try and fix this damage real quick, because I cannot go out looking like this, essentially. I mean, if I'm going to look stupid, I better look stupid in a good way, basically. If that even makes any sense. To make matters worse, I'm going on holiday soon, and I basically cut my hair. And it wouldn't be so bad, but I'm going to a country where I risk being mistaken for a guy. Japan is one of those countries. And I'm not so bothered, but I don't want to be called sir. Because, I mean, I don't actually care if from behind my hair looks short. I'm more worried about if I look like, basically, yeah, a man, by Japanese standards. And in East Asia, well, when my hair was full of crap and stuff, and not just freshly washed, it curls a lot less. I don't know why it's so damn curly, but it's pretty curly. So basically, I'm going to try and go from, I guess you could say ugly, to maybe less weird looking. Obviously I'm going to look a bit more weird in this in-between stage. Oh my god, I look insane. I've been told that I look like Doc from Back to the Future, and I do feel I look like a mad scientist. I'll admit it's probably the I think it's the contrast between the eyes and the light hair, which makes it look worse. I mean, if I had like hazel eyes, that would be fine. I mean, in my family, like on one side, everybody has like well, I wouldn't say everybody, but they have blonde hair, blue eyes. On the other side of the family, they are Asian. So, by Asian, not East Asian. Although I wish, I sometimes always thought, like, if only I had just been born a different Asian, half Asian, if that makes sense. Because when I was younger, I used to think I was able to cook Japanese food before I knew what the heck Japanese food was, and I used to cut vegetables into the shape of flowers, and then I'd make them float in a giant wide serving dish type thing. And I said, here's my recipe for Asian vegetables, like just raw vegetables, like cut into flower shapes, which made absolutely no sense, and everybody looked kind of creeped out by that. I think I was about 8 years old. I thought it was a really good idea because my parents went through a very temporary phase of being vegetarian, but for some strange reason my skin broke out. My entire body, including that of my relatives, ended up breaking out head to toe in eczema and autoimmune conditions. Why? Because we cut out meat only to replace it with corn, and corn is made out of fungus, and my immune system does not like mushrooms at all. Well, I mean, I can have mushrooms, but not this weird modified crap. I don't know how it was made. It was probably like made in a tank. Like, it grew this mold to taste like chicken. Isn't that like a bit messed up? And I'm not sure if I remember liking the taste. It tasted okay. I mean, the texture-wise was great, but everything kind of was a bit mushroomy, if that makes sense. I can't believe I'm managing to remain so calm, even though I woke up like wondering if the mirror would break because of how mad I essentially look. I actually look like 10, 20 years older, and this is absolutely horrific. Good thing my hair grows at the speed of light. Yeah, this is absolutely horrific, actually. I'm just doing like complete botched, I guess you could say face contouring, because I got a weird shape. I don't know, actually. I don't get it. Like, before these celebrities, I was already doing contouring without realizing what I was doing. I used to draw on shadows to kind of give myself that sickly look of having cheekbones, because I basically look like I still had puppy fat. Until maybe in a few years ago. For some strange reason, when I was 18 years old, I was mistaken. I wasn't mistaken for a 12-year-old, but really there really wasn't much difference. And as I'm approaching my late 20s, I still get ID'd, and I wonder, will I be ID'd with short hair? Actually, you know what? I think I did. Oh no, did I? I don't know. I can't remember. I think I may have trimmed my hair, and I still managed to get ID'd. They was giving me a double take. Like, why would I buy? Why would I be some underage person buying alcohol when I bought things that only somebody over age 35 would buy, like specialty foods, combined with bare bones ingredients? Because I try to cook everything from scratch. Everything. Like, I can't have a ready-made food because ready-made food has a lot of additives in it, like, I mean, I try to avoid it, but I can't. It seems with things like bread, it's just impossible unless it's flat, and even then, things like yeast, which is made also, I think, from, I mean, I don't know if it's made from a mold, but some kind of bacteria or something. Anyway, yeah, my immune system does not like that. Basically, people with eczema and psoriasis are canaries in a coal mine, because nobody wants to deal with these people. And I actually look like an insane person right now. Oh my god. I don't have any wrinkles, but I just feel like I've aged like 10,000 years. Yeah. This is not a good start. I've noticed that when I apply makeup, I always do it like a crazy person, in a rushed way. I already put skincare on. And one thing I've noticed is, I swear my skin actually gets better when I apply makeup or afterwards, which makes no sense at all. Maybe it's because it protects my skin. I have no idea. People say it's bad for your skin. Maybe my skin's so dry. I don't know, it's a combination skin. I don't even care, so I don't know why I'm talking about this crap. Like, you know, when you're talking, do you ever like talk? I don't think many people get this. You know, you're talking halfway through, and then you're all writing or typing or thinking of something, and you're like, why am I thinking, talking, or saying these things? Because I don't actually give a damn. I really could not care less. And this is what I do. I feel like I'm talking about the price of peas, or I'm talking about the description of shower curtain, I don't know, yeah, shower curtains, instead of actually talking about anything relevant, interesting. Guess I've always felt like I had to entertain people. Yes, I still look like a cave woman. Oh my god. I think I look like a serial killer, and I actually think I also look like one of those, like, people just before those school shooters. Oh my god, seriously. What is the meaning of this madness? I'm not even sure if it's a good idea. Really talking even whilst trying to, I guess you could say, apply makeup. Yes, I look like a ghost. I mean, it's not as bad as my, I went through a goth phase, an emo phase. I never went hardcore goth, because I just thought, oh, it looks ridiculous, like I didn't like the style of boots. Everything looked too hyper. Ironically, like, men who dress like goths look feminine, but it just looked, but if you're a woman, I don't know, like the style of shoes, for instance. I always thought goths it just looked tacky, basically, and hyper masculine. And I remember I never wanted to wear boots with like steel parts on it and flames and some really weird tacky looking stuff. But I remember when I was 16, I really wanted I don't know if they had thigh high, knee high Converse shoes, like black ones, and I thought that would be fun putting them on. And because they'd stick to my stick thin legs, because I've always had stick thin legs, unfortunately. Unless I do 1,000 squats and take up martial arts and walk up giant hills and maybe cycle for hours on end and eat like a freaking actual bodybuilder. Like, I literally cannot gain weight, which sounds like everyone's dream, but it isn't when you look like a starving Holocaust victim. And in case anybody gets offended, my grandfather had to hide out in the countryside during World War II, and he also apparently jumped off a train, Indiana Jones style, apparently. So, before anybody starts thinking, oh, I'm intolerant, oh, screw you. It's really annoying because I'm the kind of person that every time I try to relax or be myself, this is when I get loads of people being insulted by absolutely everything I say and twisting it. And I think the problem is a case of people around you when that happens. There's two possibilities. You're the asshole. The other possibility is you're surrounded by assholes, making you believe you're the one who's an asshole. And they might be just narcissists or sociopaths doing something called triangulation, where they manage to essentially humiliate you by creating a prop of words, I guess you could say, that convinces the audience or the people in the room, like an entire room or whole group or whole classroom, that you've done something wrong. And the way they word it, they manage to basically completely twist. Essentially, you're just basically framed on weird, subtle levels that start off with small rumours, basically. And yeah. Oh my god. This looks worse, I think, on camera, but it still looks pretty bad. Why does it look pretty bad? because I was just trying to even out my skin, and this looks absolutely terrible. I think it's the contrasting features. So yeah, I risk basically being mistaken for a man when I go on holiday to Japan. That rhymes. A man in Japan. And I don't like talking about my travels because I have more than one channel, and I don't like showing off basically my trips because I don't want to sound like some, how do I put this without insulting somebody. Yeah, I don't like talking about my trips because I remember when I travelled so I could teach abroad. When I came back, my family acted like nothing had happened. Like, nothing. And also when I don't understand, but when I was a child, I had to listen to their stories of how they travelled the world, how my dad went here and there because he was in a band, how my mother travelled all over Europe and almost accidentally got on a train to Moscow, because in Europe, think about it, there's no, you could actually end up accidentally waking up on a train in basically Russia if you get the wrong train that has several stops, or even that directly goes to Russia. That probably would be quite insane, no? And I've been to Russia, and it is kind of surreal. Maybe back then, in the, I don't know, 70s, I don't know where she went. I think the contrast in the past between Russia and Europe was not that big, because people just smoked everywhere in public, things like that. I'm not quite happy with my eyebrows. Yeah, I risk being mistaken for a guy, and I'm not looking forward to this. It seems pretty vain. Maybe I am pretty vain, because one thing people seem to forget is, oh my god, maybe a lot of people are self-obsessed. They really have something where they have a warped view of themselves, because they have BDD, which is body dysmorphic. Body dysmorphic. I don't know how he's like what. I might be mixing it up with the French version of it. I don't know. Like, it's bad enough struggling to remember like medical terms in English, and then because you learnt them in a different language the first time round or something. That's very frustrating. Although the more complex words are in different languages, the more they become universal, I find, when it comes to science and stuff. Yeah, I still look mad. I actually still look mad. I'm thinking when I go on holiday to Japan, because I don't want to, like when I go traveling, I just like shove everything in small tiny containers, all my makeup, because I can't just go without makeup, because I'll look crazy. Even though I like looking natural, but this is not exactly natural. So I'm probably going to bring a pencil that I use for my eyebrows, but what I'll do is I'll use this for multitasking. I have no idea what this is, because now the brand has the label has script on. And this waterproof eyeliner. Yeah, that I can use as well for my eyes, so I look less like a zombie handful. And this pink lip liner. Yeah, I'll probably be using this pink lip liner also as other things, so I look less like a cavewoman or a Neanderthal or like some weird dead person. When I woke up, I looked like Sweeney Todd. My hair's not gonna stay purple, but I'm a little bit mad because basically the blonde bits have gone lilac, and the orange bits, unfortunately, doesn't matter how many times I use bleach on my hair, I go ginger, and it pisses me off. and the joke that runs in my family is, well, you have the ginger gene. Like, what the hell does that even mean? Yeah, very frustrating. So yeah, right, this is going to be quite hard. Oh dear, this is terrifying. I sound so, I think, insecure and full of myself, because the fact is I woke up feeling like that. I don't want to say I don't care if somebody thinks I'm beautiful, because I think I look like a clown, and I look like I have a bad politician haircuts or something. It doesn't look right. So, oh my god, I can't stop saying oh my god, because I'm actually scared when I look in the mirror. I've been compared to Doc from Back to the Future. Then I was told I look like Andy Warhol by 2 different people, which is disturbing. I look like an old lady, and I think, personally, I have the exact same haircut as my grandmother. But the thing is, what people don't know is, old lady haircuts. There is no such thing as old people clothes, and there's no such thing as old lady and old men haircuts. Why? Because that was the fashion in the 1940s and 1950s, and somehow they just stayed stuck like that. So I imagine when millennials are old, we're going to have a lot of really aged, emo-looking people covered in tattoos. That is going to look really weird. And the next generation will be like, ew, like these old people, and their old people clothes, it's just so gross. Yeah, basically what we find trendy now, if it stays long enough as a staple, it basically will end up maybe becoming a new old person clothes trend. I don't want to look like an old person, because I'm not actually necessarily that bothered I look young. I just don't want to look like a man, and I'm tired of being compared constantly to famous men. I don't know what it is, like I've brought this up before, even my family have done this. I've been compared to, I mean, one of the better comparison, I suppose, would be Johnny Depp, but, again, I don't think, I mean, if I have the same hair as him, because it doesn't matter how I style my hair, of course, or dye it, I end up looking probably confused and lost, like Johnny Depp does in all of his movies, looking confused and lost, basically. Yeah, this is gonna be pretty weird. Maybe I'm making a big scene out of all of this, but I'm essentially humiliating myself for you, the audience, to go, haha, she looks like a cave woman. She looks like an old lady, and she looks like a Neanderthal. I mean, if you've watched any of my former videos, I don't want to turn this channel into some confessional, but that's what it's turning into, and it's not my goal at all. But since I'm not getting paid, and this is who I am, this is just basically what I know to do. So anyway, the reason why I don't talk about my travels is I've had rather strange responses from people, because when people ask, so what do you do? Or even if I don't wait for somebody to ask me a question, or what I've done, or what my interests are, and I just tell them, oh, like in the past I'd say, oh, I was a teacher abroad, I was in China, I was in such and such country. The problem is, maybe I was too young, and when I hang out with young people in my age group, people would stop doing anything, and I'd look at them, and then their faces drop, but then they'd look like they dropped hot potatoes out of their mouths, if that makes sense. And they would just, their eyes would sort of glaze over, and this is what I call the fluoride dead stare. It's the only way I can describe it. Their eyes glaze over, their face looks completely flat, and it's like nobody's there. And I've noticed when I've made the mistake, I guess, to tell people my age group, in my late teens, early 20s, I had been to such country, they just don't respond. They're like this. Like, it's very creepy. Like, I can't even imitate it properly right now, because I don't want to, whilst I've got a scary looking face, because I think I'll actually scare myself. It's just not very nice. So, I don't know if it's a reaction from occasionally jealousy, because again, I don't like flaunting Instagram or Facebook photos of my travels or my photography, because one thing I've done for years is I've done photography, and I used to post on Facebook occasionally, and I don't know if you need to be in like sort of the right social settings as an artist or musician or photographer and blah blah blah. But if you're not in the right setting, you're completely essentially ignored. And I always used to think, maybe my stuff is bad, maybe my artwork sucks, and maybe I can't play an instrument, that's why nobody wants me in their band, and maybe I just look dumb, or things like that. And the end result is, I think it's just a form of invalidation, and maybe subtle gaslighting. Now, it's not like a direct attack on me as an individual, but it's more like a subtle form of, like, if you're surrounded by people like this and they don't accept you for, let's say you're surrounded by loads of artists and musicians and they don't accept you, or creatives, and they don't accept you, yet they expect you to give them attention for their photography, their expensive trips, you know, likes for their profile pictures, but they don't like cheer you on when you have any accomplishments. That is another form of narcissism. So you're not necessarily surrounded, essentially. It's not all in your head, basically. Like the original definition of paranoia. Now, it does exist, paranoia. You can become paranoid, but paranoia, it actually, sometimes it really is a case of it's not you, it's them, and you're just in a wrong social setting, and you don't tick all the boxes in terms of what is considered normal by their standards. Like, you do not earn their trust or something, or I don't know. And I used to get rather annoyed that like, there was this girl who I knew, we were friends, but everything I did, whether it's play an instrument, she got the same recognition for the exact same thing, if not less. When I could draw, she got the exact same recognition, if not more. Whenever she did photography on even on a crappy mobile phone, I got the impression she got more recognition. And keep in mind, all these people were my friends, but then I noticed they slowly gravitated towards her. I've noticed I'm rather good at making tons of friends, but I purposely choose to avoid interacting with too many people anymore, because I've learned from my lessons, if you make loads of friends and you're not careful and you introduce all kinds of different people from different backgrounds that would, under normal circumstances, never meet up with each other. They'd never normally befriend each other. They might even hate each other, or they're just complete opposites. I basically did that. I don't know how I did that, but I managed to round up people from different backgrounds. I was really good at that, basically, like creating, I wouldn't say little gangs, but basically introducing people, I guess you could say giving them opportunities to meet people of different cultures, or different languages, and vice versa. People of different cultures and languages, I try to introduce them to situations that they would, under normal circumstances, they never encounter. They just neither in work nor in education. And I've noticed a lot of people stay in their own little subcultures, their own little groups, their own little gangs, their own little niches, and that's perfectly fine. But as I've always been a person that's always interacted with all kinds of people, at least I try to, I put myself out there. So I really enjoyed the process of introducing people to even more different people and vice versa, and creating these interesting little groups of people. And it doesn't last forever, unfortunately, sadly. But one good thing is it makes the world feel, I wouldn't say more connected. I feel like I sound like an ad now. Like it sounds like some promotional term, making the world feel more connected. I mean, it just sounds like a really bad advertisement. So, yeah. The downside is when they start hanging out with you without you, including your boyfriends, now ex-boyfriends, are hanging out with your former childhood friends from the completely different schools, and it turns out that all your friends from different backgrounds and genders and all that are hanging out with you without you. That's pretty weird. And then on top of it, they're patting each other on the back for, which is fine, but they're patting each other on the back for things that I consider myself to be good at, or just as good at in terms of creative things. But I noticed when I accomplished something, I didn't feel like I was supported or cheered on. And that maybe I had this terrible tendency of putting others first, which is kind of sad, basically. And I'm basically tired of that. I'm tired of putting other people first. I'm tired of so-called friends turning on me and threatening my death, implying that I will kill myself because I'm so lonely and things like that. And that's a bit extreme. Like, I'm not saying that generally happens, but I have encouraged a lot of extremes in my life. Maybe because I'm a rather extreme person, but I don't consider myself extreme, apart from my ridiculous hair. Apart from appearances, I wouldn't consider myself extreme because deep down inside, I just wish I had a normal life. I don't even care that much about traveling anymore, because I've noticed the more you travel, like actual traveling, not like little holidays, I wouldn't say it's all bad, but it does start to wear you down. Maybe I'm just burnt out, I guess, which is kind of sad. I'm not sure if I'll even post this video, because I'm essentially just talking to myself about things that affected me and may or may not have affected you in your life, because I put myself in rather unique and yet insane situations multiple times over the course of my life. Probably through the helping hand of my parents, who also were a bit, I guess you could say, mad. Like, mad does not shock me. Really, it doesn't. But I'm tired of being that annoying, over-the-top, provocative person, rebel without a cause type thing. Because it's not sustainable, and yeah, it gets annoying. I still look like a cave woman, I think. So, maybe I just need more eye makeup thing. This video is gonna be basically probably way too long again. Hopefully not as long as the talking videos. Yeah, this is gonna be crazy. And you might find this video actually boring. Who cares? I look like a cave woman. I hope this doesn't actually offend anybody that may actually look like a cave woman, caveman, whatever. You know, it's a real problem. Some people are actually born genetically looking like cave people, and it's caused by, I think, their adrenals malfunctioning and their pituitary gland. And in case you are wondering if I have problems, I don't know if I have problems. But I grew up, I was born, premature. And when I was born premature, I was born with a hairy back and a full head of hair. So, when babies are supposed to be hairless, for the most part, and fat, and maybe, like generally bald. I was born really early, completely hairy. I don't know if it's a thing. I had black. I don't know if it's black hairs. Yeah, I don't know. Basically, I was born with a hairy back. Now the thing is, it disappeared, and I now have a normal back. I panicked once when my mother told me this when I was a teenager, and I started checking my back to see if it was hairy, wondering if this was the cause of why I was bullied in school. Was it because I was just abnormally hairy? No, it wasn't. But I was forbidden to shave my legs. I was forbidden to wear women's clothes, like, because they looked too mature or something. I could not have real bras, and instead I had to wear these awful tank top sports bra things. And oddly enough, I've only gone back to wearing these things occasionally now because I know it's bad for your health to wear a restrictive bra with a chunk of metal around each breast. It's not very good for your circulation. Yeah, maybe that's why I feel like, maybe not a perpetual teenager, but if you're wondering, well, why would you wonder this, but I do sometimes wonder, will I ever be one of those people that let themselves go in terms of appearances? I don't think so. I think I'll be vain till I'm dead. Why? Because I wasn't allowed to express myself when I was a teenager. I feel like I wasn't allowed to experiment with boys. I wasn't allowed a boyfriend until I was 18. I wasn't allowed a phone until I was like 17. I had a year-long ban from using a PC, on top of having no phone, so I could not even talk to people during summer holidays. At the end of the school year, when I managed to gather everyone's emails, because I did not have a phone, and people thought I was an alien in college when they said, "Oh, give me your number," and I would be like, "I don't have a number." And they'd be like, "Why?" "Because I don't have a phone." "What do you mean you don't have a phone?" "I'm not allowed a phone." Like, what do you mean you're not allowed a phone? Have you tried? And that's another annoying thing. Kids, teenagers, even maybe some young adults. If I got paid money for every single time somebody said, "Have you tried this? Have you tried that?" No. Because when you have parents that have high IQs, Mensa level IQs that are extremely controlling, they have nothing better to do than notice if one object in an entire house has been moved by 1 millimeter. And when that happens, screaming matches ensue if something was out of place. And in case you're wondering if that's normal behavior or not, it's not normal behavior. That's what narcissistic parents do. Or insane OCD parents. Parents with some kind of problem going on in their head, basically. I'm going to have to change my entire wardrobe now, which I cannot afford to do so, just because of my stupid hair. The purple will wear out, as in my look. It's not that I don't like blonde hair. The whole goal of this product was meant to essentially remove the orange, and it didn't. It was also meant to remove the parts of yellow hair that were too yellow, which didn't work. Also, very frustrating. This is going to be I'd use a video editor and speed up this video, but yeah, this is ridiculous. I don't know if I spend this long doing makeup. I'm a bit worried if I do spend this long. So yeah, when I go traveling, I will bring only pencil type things, if I can help it. Because I like the idea of drawing on my face, basically. What am I doing? Going mad. But no, there's a reason to this madness. As long as this doesn't make me look like I've broken blood vessels from too much alcohol consumption, that is good. Okay, that's a little better. My cheeks look a bit flat though. I have hardly any cheekbones. Or cheeks. Cheekbones are different from cheeks. I'm not sure what I'm trying to go for. I just don't know. Pasty. I mean, if I'm going to look pasty, at least I better look pasty in a cute way, as opposed to pasty in a disturbing way. I have like 10 different skin colours all over my body anyway, and the most disturbing thing is my skin tone, for the most part, on my chest is about the same colour as a sheet of paper. But my arms are really tanned, and it's very frustrating. Because once I have a tan, especially on my arms and face, it doesn't go away, and it stays there for 10,000 years. I basically look like I love sunbathing, and I absolutely hate sunbathing. It's weird, because I love the sun, I love sun exposure, but I cannot stand sunbathing. Like, I actually feel ill in the sun, I keep getting sunstrokes, my skull must be abnormally paper thin or something, because the amount of times I felt like my brain sort of shrink to the size, it felt like it would shrink to the size of a pea, and it felt like my brain starts spinning inside a gigantic skull, and it was filled with a million bees. That's basically what I think a sunstroke or a heat stroke feels like. And it's happened so many times, my face gets really red, I look like I'm going to die from a heart attack. I think I've passed out in a tent before, as a child. I fell asleep in a tent. They don't have UV anything, it was just a child's tent, you know, those kids pop-up tents. And I think my cousin had noticed I don't know if I actually did pass out, I can't remember. But my cousin seemed concerned, she said I looked really sick. Yeah, that's what happens when I spend time in the sun. I also used to have sun allergies or intolerances, photosensitivity, and my skin was a lot dark all over because I had lived in France. I didn't think of it. Makes no sense at all, because I've gone through phases where I could go in the sun excessively and I'm fine, and then, but for some strange reason, I end up having allergic reactions in the sun in a different country. And what makes no sense is I actually think the way the clouds or the UV rays are distributed varies from country to country. Why do I say that? Because I've managed to go to the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, countries like that. I managed to be in a boiling hot sun, not for too long though, because that's just mad. Why would you do that to yourself? I mean, I'd still wear sunscreen and stuff. Unless you want to like age 1,000 years, don't go in the sun without sunscreen and some hat and stuff like that. So basically, the secret to the reason why French people supposedly have good skin and look good looking and don't age, it's the same thing like Koreans and East Asians have. They wear sunscreen, 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 moisturize, moisturize, the men moisturize, the women moisturize, the children moisturize, different intervals. Their skin looks amazing because they take care of their skin, and there's nothing gay with taking care of your skin, at all. Or wearing perfume. I don't know if it's a Frenchman thing, maybe it might be a Middle Eastern thing too. The men seem to wear a lot of cologne in my family, and they always smell. So I associate masculinity with moisturized skin, I guess, and smelling of cologne. I don't know, cologne burn stuff. I don't know if this is really working. What was my point? I don't even know anymore. But basically, I'm the kind of person that's managed to get a sun rash or sunburn on a bus at 10 AM in spring, in April, like a complete rash across my cheek, like an allergic reaction to the sunlight. But I can go to Egypt, or the Middle East, or actual desert, and my skin is fine. I mean, my skin, like my cheeks would go bright red and my nose would go red, but the difference is I did not get this weird rash. And I always wondered, is it to do with Britain having a massive ozone hole? I mean, I think it's been closing up since for years now, and I'm sure I saw an article that the ozone hole closed itself up in the UK a few years ago. But in the 90s, apparently it was really, really bad. There was a massive gaping hole in the ozone layer above the UK, and I wonder if that had anything to do with it. I swear the rain used to burn my skin in the UK in the 90s. It felt like acid rain. I don't think my diet was very good, so it contributed to inflammation. Basically, don't eat GMO, don't eat bread and wheat and yeast and anything, basically the nasty ingredients in Marmite. Don't eat stuff like that, because you might be just sensitive. What is that? I just realised I have like a scar or something. So yeah. I think I look better, but I still am entirely convinced. I basically have to go out, and I don't want to look insane, and so I'm putting on makeup, hoping I'll look less insane, despite my hair looking like a strange kind of root vegetable. I look like a turnip, as I've been told. I just want to look like nice. I don't want to look insane. Do I still look like a guy? I think from the side, my side profile is like too handsome, and my neck's too handsome, and I've been told I look handsome, which is really annoying, because it's like, I'm not handsome. I suppose like hot is just the female term, or the gender neutral term for handsome, rather than pretty and beautiful, but it would be nice to look like my designated gender. When my hair was longer, I was told it looked a bit like a transsexual. Except, like, I didn't think it looked that bad. And it's not that I have a problem with shorter hair, and I thought, okay, this is a good idea, I'll cut my hair. But then I washed it, and it went all curly like clouds and shit. And, I actually think I look more like a transsexual now than I did before. I'm not trans. And it's so annoying, because there's some trans women. Is that the right one? The right way around? Yeah, there's some male to female trans women, yes, is that the term? They look more like women than some women. It's not fair. Nature is not fair, but then I realised it's not nature. They learned all the secrets of femininity, that's all the tricks of the book, that even some women have not been taught, and I was not allowed to shave my legs. My black, hairy legs, and then I wondered why I got bullied. Yeah, because I'm not allowed to shave. So yeah, if you have like shitty parents, like this, I don't want to turn this channel into like, blame my parents, but it's basically starting to sound like that. Why does my hair look blue? Silver. Oh dear, that is quite disturbing. It looks kind of blue. I don't know why. Suppose if I make it into sort of stylized curls, I could pray it looks like Marilyn Monroe, but it's probably not going to look like that. I could put gel and wax in it and straighten it and stuff, but I don't know what to do. So yes, this video has been far too long. I apologize yet again. So yeah, one of the reasons why I do not talk about my travels, because I don't want to make people jealous. Not everyone can afford holidays. And in case people are wondering, you don't have to be rich to travel. And sometimes, if you're really lucky, opportunities just appear. They really do. Yeah, it's like traveling. I think traveling is a personal thing, and you shouldn't have to post pictures everywhere on social media to get instant gratification. I don't know. Like, why would you need a reward for traveling when the actual act of travelling and the journey in itself is a reward, why would you then post it and need all those extra rewards of confirmation that you're a good person, you're a normal person, you're a fun person? I mean, that's okay if you want to do that. I've done that, but the difference is I'm very selective with what I post and don't post, and I don't even bother anymore generally keeping up with social media. And I guess this is my only friend, YouTube, which I don't know if that even makes sense. It always has been, it always will. I'm getting foundation on my lips. So yeah. I wish people were more responsive, basically, to people going on holiday, as opposed to not. It's kind of sad, basically. I'm just removing. Oh, gross. I basically look like somebody that's a bit dim if I don't remove the makeup that's ended up somehow on my lips. It just looks disgusting. Like I'm frothing at the mouth. So yeah. Yes. I look like a strange person. I just want to look like a woman, okay? That does not look like a man. That's my jaw. It's a jaw and a nose, and there's not much I can do about that. I just basically have a, what do you call it? I've been mistaken for Greek, and Middle Eastern. I take that as an insult though, sometimes, because the idea of having a nose like a beak is just not fun. And my nose is not that bad. It could be worse. I just said my nose is not that bad, and it looks like a witch's nose from this angle, because my nose didn't even always look this way. It's basically a line with a bump in the middle, and it goes back to being straight again, which is kind of strange. But on one side it looks hooked, on the other side it looks jagged. Maybe I broke my nose. It really would not surprise me, because I once got a basketball in my face. It felt like my brain got freaking shaken. It felt horrible. Like I felt like my whole skull had been shook, basically. Receiving a basketball in your head. Oh, so horrible. I have had one too many footballs, as in soccer balls, not actual American football, because I'd probably be dead, to be honest, if an American football wound up in my face. I don't know why, because my head is basically a human magnet. If you're a football team and you want to score a goal, basically put somebody that's unfortunate like me next to the goal, and all of a sudden, basically said team will start scoring goals. I'm not even joking. Like, it's like a magnet. It's really annoying. Like, even when kids and adults are playing football, the football always seems to always gravitate towards my head. And it's possible I'm just badly coordinated and I'm walking towards the wrong direction. But I've received so many footballs to the nose or my head. Almost every single time my nose. But then again, my nose looked kind of weird when I was a kid anyway. I'm surprised I can even breathe. Basically. Okay, this failed contour, but that's what I have to do. Yeah, it's not so bad. And again, I sometimes wonder, parts of my head says, like, if you're saying it's not so bad, maybe it is that bad. Part of me thinks I needed glasses, and then I'd look like the perfect old lady, which is disturbing. Oh my goodness, I have the same haircut as both my grandmothers. It's terrible. This is not, I suppose, to make myself look more feminine because I'll shove earrings in. I mean, it's not Nyan Cat. Pardon my disgusting nails. Oh, my nails are disgusting. I need to fix that. But yes. These look relatively cute as well. Like, I have cat's eyes. Oh, that looks so weird. Anyway, what am I doing? They look pretty cute, actually. Why won't it focus? They fill my face. Okay, never mind. Just annoying the hell out of my audience. I have to wear specifically over feminine clothes now, just to make sure I'm not mistaken for a man in Japan. Do you know what to be called sir? I'm tall by East Asian standards. I'm 5'7". I'm looking like a gigantism. That's why I will never wear heels, ever. Ever, ever, ever. When I wear heels, I'm 6 foot tall. If you wear those things, it's just depressing. Actually, I'm 5'6" on one leg and I'm 5'7" on the other somehow, if that makes any sense at all. Because I have one leg longer than the other. I have no idea why. I'm basically, essentially, a pseudo cripple. I probably should stop recording this video.